Krystal, what are you taking a look at?
We're getting more information and some truly horrifying images out of Europe where floods have ravaged parts of Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. This is perhaps the most stunning image, a before and after photo of farmland in Western Germany that went from bucolic idyll to post-apocalyptic catastrophe in the span of one single day. But unfortunately, there are plenty more photos like it. Here's a before and after of a charming village set between hills that was turned into a raging river, with every road and house and school and church and everything else completely submerged. This is a look at Belgium. You can see residents wading through chest-high water. They're hoping to reach safety. We know that across the entire region, more than 1,000 remain unaccounted for as rescue missions continue. Some of the towns and panicked residents are reachable only by helicopter. Others were not reachable at all. The known death toll as of my writing of this segment stood at 183. That number is expected to rise as recovery efforts continue. Scientists are already saying that the once-in-a-millennia floods are fueled by climate change. In particular, one simple dynamic: the warmer the air, the more water it can hold. Every 1 degree Celsius increase in temperature means air can hold 7% more moisture. Now, in this instance, the hardest hit areas received 2 months worth of rain in a single hour. The waters rose so quickly it left towns and villages and families unable to respond in time. Now, another factor regarding climate change may be at work as well. Scientists are studying whether rapid warming in the Arctic has also caused changes in the jet stream that allow systems to linger longer in one place, creating this kind of devastation. Now, this all occurs against a backdrop of multiple record-breaking extreme weather events right here in our nation that have happened one after another. Most notably, the West Coast has been hit by multiple historic heat waves. Another one is set to hit. That is 4 heat waves in just 5 weeks. Death Valley might have just set the record for the highest temperature ever recorded on Earth at a deadly 130 degrees. The normally mild Pacific Northwest, where the climate is typically so moderate that many don't even have air conditioning, they were hit with temperatures well over 100 degrees. Seattle hit 108. Portland hit 116. Lytton, Canada hit 121 degrees. That broke the record high temperature ever recorded in that nation. And the town literally went up in flames, fueled by those hot and dry conditions. Across the region, hundreds of deaths were tied to the heat wave, which scientists say would have been impossible without climate change. And these high temperatures have also fueled massive wildfires. According to the Drought Center, nearly 60% of the western U.S. is experiencing a severe or exceptional drought. Those are the highest levels of drought recorded in this region in the Drought Monitor's history. Those conditions have already created a historically devastating wildfire season. According to a National Interagency Fire Center spokesperson, we are a full month ahead of where we were last year, and last year was a historic season. Cliffs are collapsing in California. Lake Mead is going dry. So is the Great Salt Lake. All of this is just a long way of saying that this shit is really bad. The costs are already devastating. In response, Ezra Klein, writing at the New York Times, writes that, yeah, while it's become in vogue to talk about a World War II level mobilization to fight climate change, we don't actually see anyone acting like the threat to the planet is anything like the threat that the Nazis posed. That effort, of course, enlisted the entire nation, quite a lot of the world, frankly, in an effort of mobilization, sacrifice, and shared purpose. As we watch this destruction and mouth the words existential threat, Klein writes, "You never know at watching C-SPAN. The bipartisan infrastructure bill cut most of the climate investments from President Biden's American Jobs Plan, leaving them for a future reconciliation package that may or may not pass. It's better than nothing. It is not nearly enough. The same is true, to be honest, even of the broader investments Biden envisioned. That is the state of climate policy in 2021, and I am not optimistic that it will be much different in 22 or 25. To be honest with you, though, Ezra Klein is being far too kind to the Biden administration and also to the media that covers for him by pretending the scope of the proposal is enough and imagining political and economic constraints that don't actually exist. For example, one of the most ambitious pieces of the proposed reconciliation package with regards to climate is a renewable energy standard that would move all electricity generation away from fossil fuels. Unfortunately, that standard, not a lock for making it through the Byzantine reconciliation process, thanks to Democrats' continued deference to an unelected parliamentarian who provides guidance on Senate procedure. Are we really going to let the world burn based on the whims of one government bureaucrat? Or less obvious, but frankly just as pernicious, The demand from corporate-aligned Democrats like Joe Manchin that every expenditure be paid for, and then relentlessly attacking those proposed pay-fors without offering a single viable alternative. That was the cleverly evil scheme laid out by an Exxon lobbyist in a secretly recorded video where he explained in detail exactly how that company has avoided significant climate change legislation. So, we gonna let the world burn because of some Reagan-era foolishness, demanding to know how we'll pay for it while the cost of doing nothing skyrocket? Are we going to let the world burn because of some political tropes and conventional wisdom left over from the 90s, which insists that doing as little as possible is really the way to motivate voters in the midterm election? Or because you're worried about upsetting Joe Manchin, who isn't even up for re-election until 2024? All of these supposed constraints and checks on the ambition of the Biden administration, whether it's climate or frankly minimum wage or healthcare or making permanent the child tax credits, they're all imaginary. They are invented by Democrats afraid of displeasing their corporate benefactors, and they are enforced by compliant media that consistently carries water for the establishment. You can understand why people roll their eyes at the talk of climate change or climate crisis, because so many of the people who rhetorically embrace the gravity of the threat then go on to elaborate lengths to avoid taking real action. Now, maybe you're in the camp that's just hoping geoengineering will keep us from having to act, or that believes we're so far gone that we should just focus on mitigating climate impacts while praying for some kind of a miracle technological advance. But no one should be fooled by the lie that says we don't have the capacity or the political ability to act. Imagine saying that climate change is an existential threat and then letting the Senate parliamentarian keep you from acting. That is completely insane. Do not fall for the madness. And Sagar, we've had a series of horrific events. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it, you get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.